All praises and glory goes to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All praises and glory goes to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the men of GMS who rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect. This is Brother Boaz on the set once again. They went out from us, showing you that they're not of us, okay? So all these Israelite camps and groups, we're going to stick to the topic, okay? That took a bag, they won't make it out with their life, okay? That's what this is about. And Negroes that's still dependent on the so-called white man, you're going to go down with this man, okay? You're going to go down with the so-called white man. He's already expressed his hatred, mass shootings, killing Negroes. He's already showed his horns, okay? He's already let you know what type of sort he is, okay? And if you keep on doing the twist with this man, you're going to get put to death with this man when this thing comes to pass, okay? When this thing finally goes down, okay? Seek Yahweh Yahushai while you still can, okay? While the doors of mercy are still cracked open, okay? The wicked need to forsake their way, okay? And turn unto Yahweh, and he'll heal them, okay? Really, Yahushai don't want to wake you Negroes up, okay? He wants to put you Negroes to death, okay? That's why it says eyes that see but can't see, ears that hear but can't hear, okay? That's what this is about, okay? And if you are with your life, okay, you better have these scriptures as your heartbeat, okay? And join unto that doctrine of GMS, like we discussed on multiple occasions. They didn't take a bag, okay? You can see the sincerity of Tehar, Gabar, Ramlab, and Rakar, okay? You can see the sincereness in their studies and their research, okay? They're the only ones that haven't took a bag. Okay, so let's get into these scriptures. The book of I John chapter 2, verse 19. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they have been of us, they would not have, no doubt, have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest that they were not of us, not all of us. Okay, so so-called falling out of the truth. Okay, 7 more demons or a perfect number of demons just gets put on you. Okay, you got brothers. 7 more demons just bugged out there. Okay, just bugged off. Okay, a bug out. Okay, if you fall out this truth. Okay. That's what this is about. Turn to the book of Peter's. If you want the 100% truth, you better call on, you better go by the men of GMS like we discussed and stop playing with your life, okay? That's, it's going to be mass death and mass killing when Yahweh Shai gets here, okay? The book of 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. But there were false prophets among the people, even as there will be either as shall it be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable hearsays, even denying the Lord that brought them, and bringing upon themselves swift destruction. Okay, all these Israelite groups be destroyed when this thing comes to pass, okay? When this thing finally goes down, okay? And we at the door, okay? Yahweh Shai's at the door, okay? Why would you die? The book of James, chapter 5, verse 8. Be ye patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of Yahweh draws nigh. Grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. Behold, the judge stands before the door. So Yahweh is at the door, okay, already, okay? You don't want to be caught up in this basically getting put to death. Okay, you want to make it out with your life when this thing goes down. Okay? That's what this is about. Okay, keeping your integrity. Okay, that's what this is all about. Keeping your integrity and keeping your posture in Yahweh Yahushai. Okay, and these other men that took a bag, it was the wrong time to take a bag. Okay, because this thing you're not going to be able to enjoy your spoils much more longer. Okay, because when this thing goes down, you're gonna get put straight to death. Okay, by taking a bag. Okay. Turn to the book of Nehemiah. Before the book of Nehemiah, while we over here, Ezra chapter 4, verse 1. And when the adversaries of Judah and hear that the children of the captivity were building a temple unto Yahweh, okay, the power of Israel. So we're building a temple unto Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. This temple is not made with hands, okay? We are the temple of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, okay? So when the adversaries heard that we were building a temple, they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek power as ye do, and do sacrifice unto him since the day of Esarhaddon, the king of Ashur, which brought us up hither. But Zerubbabel and Yeshaiah and said unto the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel, and said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us to build together and to build unto Yahweh power of Israel, as the king of Persia have commanded us. Okay, so they have nothing to do with us. Okay. Okay, that's these false Israelite groups, these false Israelite camps. Okay, because they took a bag. Okay, they hire men. Okay, okay, one moment. The book of we'll start at verse 10. The book of Nehemiah 6, verse 10. Afterward, I came unto the house of Zerubbabel, the son of Dedan, the son of Mizben, who also shut up, and said unto him, let us meet together in the house of power and within the temple, and let us shut the doors of the temple, for they shall come to slay thee, yea, in the night they shall come to slay thee. See, there was a hired hand, okay? They took a bag, okay, trying to stop the work, okay? They took a bag. And I said, should not a man as I flee and Who is there that would being as I am would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go up. And lo, I perceive that power have not sent him, but has pronounced this prophecy against me. For Tabor have and Zerubbabel have hired him. Okay, so they are hired hand. Okay, they're specially hired to go against Yahweh Shai. Okay, when this thing goes down, it's going to be mass death and killing and slaughter. Okay, when this thing goes down, you can only imagine how Yahweh Shai is so angry, Jakes. Okay, when this thing finally goes down, you can only you can only you can only imagine how Yahweh Shai is going to kill these Jakes. Okay, when this thing finally goes down. Okay, one moment. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 25, verse 27. Therefore thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, drink ye and be drunken, and spew and fall and rise no more, because of the sword which I shall send among you. And it shall come to pass, and it shall be that if they refuse to drink the cup, and thou's hands to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, ye have certainly drink, for lo, I began to bring evil on the cities which I called by my name, and should ye be utterly unpunished, ye shall not be unpunished. For I will cause you to call a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, say Yahweh of hosts. So that's what this is about. That's what this is all about, okay? Yahweh Shai is going to bring a sword on this man, okay? And if you get caught in these Israelite false camps, you too gonna get put to death. Okay, you're gonna get put to death with this man. Okay, when this thing comes to pass. Turn to the book of Ezekiel. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 13, verse 2. Son of man, prophesies against the prophets of Israel, and prophesies and say unto them that prophesy, cut off thou's own beard, and hear the word of Yahweh. Thus said Yahweh power. Woe unto the foolish prophets that follow their own spirit and have not and have seen nothing. O Israel, thou prophets are like the foxes in the desert. Ye have gone up unto the grass, nether has made the hedges for the house of Israel. Stand in the day of battle, in the day of Yahweh. They have seen vanity and lying divinations, saying the Yahweh says, and Yahweh have not sent them, and they have made others to hope that they would continue the words. Have ye not seen vain visions, and have ye not spoken lying divinations? Whereas ye say Yahweh says it, howbeit I have not spoken. Therefore, thus say Yahweh power, because ye have spoken vanity and have seen. Therefore, behold, I am against you, said Yahweh power. My hand shall be upon the prophets that sees vanity, and they that desire the that divide the. Okay, one moment. Verse 9. And my hand shall be upon the prophets that see vanity and that devise lies, that they shall not be assembled of my people, neither shall that be written in the writings among the house of Israel, neither shall they enter into the land, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. So when this thing comes to pass, when this thing goes down, they're not going to be, they're not going to be, basically, they're not going to be delivered, okay? They're going to die over here on this side, okay? When this thing comes to pass. Okay, one moment. The book of, we'll start at the book of Ezekiel 14, verse 6. Therefore, say unto the house of Israel, thus said the power of Yahweh power, repent and turn yourselves from your idols and away from the faces of your abominations. Every one of the house of Israel, of the stranger that sojourned in Israel, which departed himself from me and stands up, shall set up his idol in his heart by putting him the flocks of his iniquity before his face, and shall come to inquire of him. Jumping up here to Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 1. Then came certain of the elders of Israel came unto me and sat before me. And the word of Yahweh came unto me, Son of man, these men have set the idols of their hearts and put the stumbling block for their iniquity before their faces. Should I require of them all by them? Therefore speak unto them, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, every man of the house of Israel that shut up his idols of his heart and put a stumbling block of iniquity before his face comes to that prophet and answers him that cometh according to the multitude of his idols, that I may take the house of Israel in their own heart, because they have estranged from me through their idols. Okay. Okay, so one moment. Verse 8, the book of Ezekiel chapter 14, verse 8. And I will set my face against that man and will make a sign for and a proverb, and I will cut him off from the midst of my people, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. And if a prophet deceive when he have spoken a thing, I Yahweh have deceived that prophet. So Yahweh Shai is deceiving these men, okay? That's what this is about, these false prophets. It's Yahweh Shai that's deceiving these men, okay? Like we went into, it's a council calls in heaven that says, who's going to make them take the mark of the beast, okay? And the demon raises his hand and says, I'll be a false Israelite camp, or I'll be a lying spirit. And Yahweh he said, go and do what you propose. That's what goes on in heaven, okay? Demons, okay, raise their hand and they come down here and they manifestate them to be all these false prophets and these false groups out here. Like we discussed, we already know that GMS, like we discussed on multiple occasions, they got it. They cracked the riddle already. We don't need to go and look no further. Verse 8, the book of Ezekiel 14, verse 8. And I will set my face against that man, and I will make him a sign of a proverb, and I will cut him off from the midst of my people, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. If a prophet deceive him, he have spoken a thing, I Yahweh have deceived that prophet, and I will destroy, and I will stretch out my hand against him that destroys him, and from the midst of my people, and they shall hear, and they shall bear the punishment of their iniquity, the punishment of the prophet, and shall be even as the punishment of him that seest unto him, that the house of Israel may go no more astray from me, neither shall they pollute any more with their transgressions, but they that may be my people, and I may be their power, and say Yahweh power. Okay, so Yahweh Shah is the one that's deceiving these prophets. Okay, what's some of the hearsays? The RFIV chip, like we discussed, is not the mark of the beast. Okay, Edomites could be saved. Okay, and much more. Speaking of not calling on the names of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. Okay, which is a first, which is basically the bulk of the doctrine. Okay, it starts with the names. Okay, you have to have those names so you can make it out with your life when this thing goes down. How you gonna make it out with your life? The book of First Timothy 14, chapter 4, verse 1. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the latter times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirit and doctrines of devils. Okay, doctrines of devils. Okay, saying the RFID chip is not the mark of the beast. Okay, doctrines of devils. Saying the so-called white man could be saved. Okay, doctrines of devils. Okay, that's what this is about. Okay. Okay, one moment. Second Timothy chapter 2, verse 19. Never for the foundation of power stands sure. Ye have the seal of Yahweh knows them that are his, and let the one that names the name of Mashiach depart from iniquity. So you have to have those names, okay? It all starts with the name. Second Timothy chapter 2 verse 3. Chapter 3 verse 1. Know this, and also that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, ungodly and unholy. Okay. So come over here to the book of Ezra. The book of Ezra, chapter 8, verse 52. But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such that be like thee. Okay, so he didn't say seek out your whole family. He didn't say seek out all your family and friends. He just says seek out the few men that think like us. Okay, it's only a remnant. Okay, that's gonna get this thing so they can be saved their life when this thing finally goes down. Okay, it's only gonna be a few selected men, like we discussed, to make it out with their life when this thing comes to pass. Okay, when this thing finally goes down. Okay. It's not going to be a lot of people that make it out with their life, okay, when this thing, because they're not seeking Yahweh Shai, okay? They're not seeking his divine words and his principle, his laws, his statutes and judgments, they're not considering it. Okay, it's going to catch the large masses of people unaware. The book of Second Ezra, chapter 8, verse 60. These things I have not shown thee unto all men, but unto thee and a few like thee. Then I said, Behold, Lord, thou hast showed me the multitude of the wonders which thou began to do in the last times, but what times thou hast not shown me. Okay, so it's only Yahweh knows the exact day and hour. Okay, but we know as the decadence and the destruction of this kingdom, we know that we almost here. Okay, America's destroyed already. Okay, America's is nothing but a shadow. Okay, America's destroyed. Okay, you have to seek Yahweh Shai. Okay, right off the bat. Okay, America's destroyed. Seek Yahweh Shai while you still can, while the doors of mercy are still open. Because when He shuts those doors, okay, you don't want to be caught outside. Okay, especially you being cooked alive, like we discussed. Okay, you don't want that type of death. Okay, if you can save you yourself. Okay, the book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. And he answered me and said unto me, Measure thou the diligently inside itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the earth which he made. Okay. And Yahweh Shai is going to deal with all these false groups and all these camps. Because Yahweh Shai to confusion, okay? The book of Jeremiah, chapter 25, verse 19. For lo, I begin to bring evil on the cities which are called by my name, and should ye shall be unpunished, ye shall not be unpunished. For I will cause a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, said Yahweh of hosts. Therefore prophesies against them all the words and say unto them, Yahweh shall war from on high and shall utter his voice from this holy habitations. He shall mightily roar upon the habitations. He shall give a shout as with the treading of the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise shall come up to the ends of the earth, for Yahweh have a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all the flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, said Yahweh. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, Behold, evil shall come forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall rise up against the coast of the earth, and the slain of Yahweh shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth, and they shall not be lament, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. Okay, so yeah, that's what type of killing and Yahweh Shai is going to do when he gets here. Okay, he's not coming to bring lollipops and candy. Okay, he's coming to do mass death and killing. Okay, and if you're not the right group, woe unto you, okay? Woe unto you, okay? If you're not a part of the right camping group, woe unto you, okay, in that day, okay? You're going to get put to death very violently in that day, okay? You want to seek Yahweh Shai while you still can, while the doors of mercy are still open, okay? You want to seek Yahweh Shai while you still can, while the doors of mercy are still open. Thus say Yahweh of hosts. Okay, one moment. Thus say Yahweh of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth in the nation, and a great whirlwind shall raise up against from the coast of the earth, and the slain of Yahweh shall be in that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. They shall not be lament, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be as dung on the ground. Howl ye shepherds and cry and wallow yourselves in ashes, ye principal of the flock, for the days come for your slaughter and of your dispersions are accomplished, and ye shall fall like a pleasant vessel, and the shepherds shall the flock shall no way to flee, nor the principal of the flock to escape. A voice of cries of the shepherds and a howling of the princes of the flock. Okay, so all these different groups, all these leaders, terror and destruction upon them already. Okay, the principle of the flock, okay, they gonna get what's coming to them when this thing comes to pass. Okay, you want to be in that day. You're gonna want to be saved in that day. Okay, you're not gonna be wanting to be destroyed when this thing comes to pass. Okay, you're gonna want to be saved in that day. Okay, but so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, they they still want to do the twist in this society. Okay, and this man has a disdain and hatred towards us and our people. Okay, and you don't want to give this so-called white man up. So, okay, so you're gonna be destroyed with this man when he finally gets destroyed. Okay, be heard, for Yahweh has spoiled their pastures, and the peaceable habitations are cut down because of the fierce anger of Yahweh. He hath forsaken and coveteth as a lion, for their land is desolate because of the fierceness of the oppressor and because of this fierce anger. Okay, so Yahweh Shai, when he gets here, it's gonna be just straight death and destruction. Okay, when he gets here, okay, it's not gonna be like we discussed patty cake. Okay, and these false prophets and these false camps and groups, when they when they when Yahweh Shai gets here, that's when he's going to deal with a lot of these false groups, okay? Like Eleazar, okay, I believe that's a guy's name of Sakari, okay? Now he dropped out of it, but he's still got to pay for the souls, okay? He's still got to pay for the souls that he deceived. Okay, Yahweh Shai's not done with them. Okay, let's get it. The book of Luke. Turn to the book of Luke. Because these camps know they teaching, they took a bag. They're not stupid. Okay, one moment. Turn to the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 47. And the servant which knew his lord's will and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he that knew not and committed things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whatsoever much is given, unto him shall much be required. And to whom men have committed much of him, they shall ask the more. Okay, so this is about. That's what this is all about. Okay, much is given. Okay, so all these false scripts, ISUIC, ISUBK, GOCC, all these different groups, they knew their servants' will. Okay, they knew it. Okay, they came out of One West. They knew the servants will, so they're gonna be beaten with a many of stripes. Okay, when this thing comes to pass. Okay, like the Ricard from GOCC, he took their passports and took some of his followers and just left them over there and abandoned them and took their passports. Okay, like why would he do such a wicked thing like that? Okay, it's showing the spirit of these groups. It's not they're not upright in them. Okay, their soul is not upright in them. The book of Nahum, chapter 1, verse 2. Power is jealous. Yahweh revenges and is furious. Yahweh takes vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserves wrath for his enemies. Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power. He will not at all acquit the wicked. Yahweh have his way in the whirlwind, and the storms, and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. Okay, UFOs. Okay, that's Yahweh's heavenly vehicles. Okay, the book of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 4. Chapter 2, verse 4, Shalakia. Behold, his soul is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Okay, the souls of these brothers is not upright in them. Okay, that applies to the so-called white man, but you can apply it to these false Israelite camps and groups. Okay, that's out there that took a bag. Okay, they know that's not they know better than do that. Okay. They know better than doing something like that, okay? Teaching for filthy lucre's sake. The book of Titus. The book of Titus, chapter 1, verse. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially of the circumcision, okay? That's all these different camps and groups. ISUBK, GOCC, ICIU, all these different false camps and groups, whose mouth must be stopped, and who subvert whole household, who teaches things which they ought not to, for filthy lucre's sake. Okay, they took a bag. Okay, so what they're gonna do when Yahweh Shai appears in this in that day? Okay, what they're gonna do? Turn to the book of Deuteronomy. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 13, verse 1. If there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and give us a sign or a wonder, and a sign of the wonder comes to pass, wherefore he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods, calling Christ, Jehovah, Yahweh, all these other Yahshua, all these other false names, which ye have not known, and let us serve them. Ye shall not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahweh your power proveth you to know whether ye love Yahweh your power, with all your heart and with all your soul. Ye shall walk after Yahweh your power, and fear him and keep his commandments, and obey the voice of ye, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cling unto him. And the prophet or the dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken to you to turn you away from Yahweh your power, which has brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, to thrust thee out of the way which Yahweh thou's power commandest thee to walk in. So shalt thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. Okay, so that's what this is about. You want to know what this is about? That's what this is about, okay? The book of the book of Zechariah, chapter 13. We'll start at verse 2. Shall come to pass in that day, said Yahweh of hosts, that I will cut off the name of the idols of the land, and they shall be no more. And I also will cut the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land. And it shall come to pass that when any shall yet prophesy unto his fathers, and his mother that begat him shall say unto him, Thou shalt not live, for thou hast speakest lies in the name of Yahweh. And his father and his mothers that begot him shall thrust him through when he prophesies. Okay, so hopefully you was well edified. I like to give praises to Almighty Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, Shalom.